Welcome everybody back to Iracing, back to the channel, and back to the Sebring International Circuit, one of the most famous racetracks in America, for a very special video. Today we're jumping ship into the GT4 for our first ever race in the top split of iRacing. We'll be going up against the fastest drivers on the game in the GT4 car for the very first time, and this is going to be the ultimate test of our abilities. Sebring is a very tricky circuit, characterised by medium and low speed corners, a lot of bumps in very awkward braking zones, and it being very difficult to overtake. So this is going to push us to the limit, so let's see how we got on. As always, it begins with qualifying, and at the end of our first lap you can see we're doing a 2:09.8, but this is going to be our fastest lap. So let's have a look at a lap of Sebring in the McLaren GT4. A very quick turn one, very high speed corner there, and not a lot of grip in these GT4 cars, so a very tricky corner indeed. Into turn two, heavy braking, don't want to touch that inside curb in these cars, but you do want to clatter over that one as we head into turn four. A very long left-hander, but important as it leads on to this very long straight into what is probably the best overtaking point on this circuit, the hairpin here down at turn five. Very heavy on the brakes, as you're going to see here, and going from quite a high speed, one of the highest speeds on the circuit, down to pretty much the lowest. Get the car turned in and get on the power nice and early, using a little bit of that dirt on the inside there, and you can see we are 0.4 of a second up already on our qualifying lap, which was already quite a good one. Now as we head down into the next corner, another somewhat overtaking opportunity, not so much of a braking zone into this one. You really want to hook the car in, try and run it out on the outside, don't get any oversteer, and then line the car up for this long left-hander. Now into this next corner, very tricky one this. You want to brake in a straight line, get the car turned in, and use the camber on the inside there to get on the power nice and early, try and run all that curve on the outside. You can see now, half a second up with just one sector of this lap to go. Now there's only a couple of corners, but they are very tricky ones indeed. Cutting that curve there, get the car straightened up, hit the brakes, throw it into this curb. Didn't quite hook it over as we wanted to. We've run a little bit wide there on the exit. Get the car over to the left, throw the car into the right, and then on the exit here you want to use all of this curve to get the best run possible, as this is one of the longest straights on the circuit, heading into Sunset Corner. You can see on the bottom right there, we're in P2 at the moment, and this will just solidify that at the moment. You can see we're 0.6 of a second up. Coming into Sunset, you throw the car in at high speed, trail braking all the way in while trying to balance the car, stop it from spinning out. We turn it in, you can hear a couple of stabs on the throttle, you run it all the way out to this wall on the outside. It's so close to it there, and as we come up to the line, what is this lap time going to be? It's going to be a 2:09.148. The fastest lap I did in the entire week that this race was active, and you can see actually good enough for P2, but would become P1 as Rian actually decided not to take the start. So for our first top split race on iRacing, we are starting it from pole position.
Green.
So as we get underway then, I knew we had to get into a rhythm nice and quickly. These guys are much higher rated than I am, and I knew they were going to be putting me under a lot of pressure. They're not going to want to lose to a guy with an I rating, in some cases half of some of the drivers on this split. We get a nice run through turn one, a little bit of oversteer on the exit, and coming into turn two, a little bit more under brakes. You can see just having to correct there, but it settled my nerves. We got through the first sector nicely, and we're in control of the race. And now we just need to get our head down and try and show the pace that put us on pole in the first place. By the end of the first lap, you're going to see we've got the gap up to 0.9 of a second. We almost broke the draft already at the end of the first lap. So that really gave me some confidence to try and push the car and just try and keep them at arm's length. And you can see by the end of lap two, that's exactly what we've done. We have lost a little bit of time. You can see in the bottom right, that that's going to go down to about 0.7 of a second. But what we did is we did keep them far enough away into the braking zones like this one, another one here, and into the final corner. They were just never close enough to get a move done, and we were holding on to the lead nicely. However, it wouldn't last for long. We jump ahead onto lap number 5, and you can see, if you look in the bottom right, we've actually started to gap a lot of the field behind, a 2-second gap now, back to P3. However, Aaron Thacker in P2 is putting us under a lot of pressure. I think he started around 4th or 5th in this race, has fought his way up to 2nd, and he's all over the back of us now. You can see in the mirror, he's extremely close, and we're going to have to start worrying about him. He's a very quick driver, as you can see from fighting through the field. And he seems to have a little bit more pace than we do. We're driving absolutely flat out quali laps every single lap, and yet he's still managing to catch us. And as we come into here, we make a mistake. We've gone very wide through there, and that's going to give Aaron a much better run out of the final corner. You can see we switch over 4/10, 3/10 of a second now is the gap, and he's going to have a wonderful toe coming into the final corner. You can see if you look in the mirror, he just pulls slightly out to the right hand side. He's thinking about a move, so we're going to have to throw the car into this corner, but we've gone a little bit too quick. Can we hold it? Can we hold it? No, we can't. As we pulled back onto the track, I cannot tell you how disappointed I was with that. We're about 40% of the way through the race, and we've binned the lead of a top split race on Iracing, and we're down to P12. You can see 12 seconds off the lead. We lost so much time through that, but there's only one thing we can do: put it behind us, try and show our pace now, and go on the hunt, starting with Rudolph in the Aston Martin right in front of us. And as you can see, onto lap 7, we've still not managed to find a way through. He's doing some incredible defending, but we're being held up an absolute treat by him. So we're going to have to try and find a way through. So coming through turn 1, trying to line the car up nicely. We do go a little bit wide on the exit on those bumps, and McLaren really does not like them around this circuit. It's a very poor choice of car, I have to say. But we are starting to close up, and one thing I noticed was we were much better under braking than Rudolph ahead, and we're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to play tactically now. As we come down this long straight, we're not going to be close enough here, but if we can get close enough under braking, we might be able to set a move up into the next right-hander after this hairpin. So you can see we're not going to be close enough here, but just watch how much we gain under braking. We've probably got 4 or 5 tenths back, and you can see we've gained, and on the exit we get a better exit as well, rotating the car through there, and we're right on the back of him. And this is the opportunity that I've been waiting for. We're going to have a beautiful slipstream down this straight, and you can see we're closing. We are closing. We're going to pull out to the right hand side nice and early, let him know what's going to happen, wait for him to brake a little bit later. We send it up the inside, get it stopped, and that is the move done up into P11. And now we could really show our pace in this race. And that is exactly what we did. At the end of that lap, the gap went from 12.8 down to 12.1 seconds. The next lap around, down from 12.1 to 10.7. We were going a second a lap quicker than the leaders, and by lap 13, we'd actually caught up the 4.5 second gap to the battle for P9. We were absolutely flying at this point, and this was really our chance at redemption. Can we get a top 10 finish in our first ever top split race after spinning out from the lead? Well, we're only going to have one lap to find out. This would be the penultimate lap, and we will get the white flag next time around. So we've got to try and close up to Enrico, and maybe even Matthew in front, who seems to be losing a little bit of pace at this point, and potentially could give us a chance at this top 10 finish. As you're going to see, we come into the final corner. We're going to get the white flag on the exit. We see we're carrying a different line than we have done, just trying to put Enrico off, but it is going to compromise us a little bit on the exit. There is a white flag, 1 lap to go, and this is going to be our last opportunity. So coming down towards turn 1, tucked into the slipstream, we know we're going to need to try and get a very nice run through here, but as we come into the braking zone, we turn the car in, we just get a little bit too much oversteer. The car just wanted to shimmy out wide, and we lose so much time and speed through there, and we need to try and make that back up. We come into turn 2, and it's going to go wrong. We touch the grass, we get a huge snap of oversteer. We do just about manage to catch it, but that is any chance of a top 10 gone. As we come around the final corner, the fireworks going off, but not for us, unfortunately. A P11 finish, and what could have been. We had the pace in that race, we showed that, but unfortunately we finish outside the top 10, and we go again next time.
There's the flag. It's over. Okay, we'll get them next time.
That was such an intense race, and if you want to see another one like it, check out the video on the screen now.